In the heart of the old town, nestled among the crumbling buildings, stood a dilapidated Victorian house. Its history whispered secrets, a dark tapestry of forgotten tales and unspoken horrors. Within its walls, a room lay untouched by time, its atmosphere heavy with a sense of foreboding. Word had spread through the town about the room and the mirror within it, said to be a portal to another realm, where the restless spirits of the past dwelled. The legend of Bloody Mary had taken root, captivating the imaginations of the local youth. Rumors spread like wildfire, each retelling embellishing the story, adding new layers of dread. Late one fateful night, a group of adventurous teenagers found themselves drawn to the haunted house. Their curiosity outweighed their fear, as they longed to witness the enigmatic power that had shrouded the room for generations. Their footsteps echoed through the creaking floorboards as they ascended the stairs, their breaths shallow with anticipation. The air grew thick with an otherworldly energy as they reached the room, its door ominously ajar. Moonlight streamed in through the cracked windows, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The group huddled together, their gazes fixed upon the ancient mirror. It stood as a portal to the unknown, a gateway to darkness waiting to be unleashed. Rachel, a young girl known for her audacity, stepped forward, her voice trembling but determined. "Bloody Mary! Bloody Mary! Bloody Mary!" The room fell silent, as if time itself held its breath. A faint whisper of wind rustled through the worn wallpaper, sending shivers down their spines. Suddenly, the mirror's surface rippled, its reflection distorted. The room seemed to bend and twist, as if reality itself were being contorted by an unseen force. From the depths of the mirror emerged a figure, her spectral form materializing with ethereal grace. Bloody Mary, a woman robbed of her innocence, emerged from the mirror, her eyes burning like embers of rage. A haunting melody, a lament of forgotten sorrow, filled the room, intensifying the air of doom. Rachel's heart pounded in her chest, her breath caught in her throat as the vengeful spirit drew near. With a voice that echoed from the depths of despair, Bloody Mary spoke. Her words laced with an ancient sorrow, "You have awakened me from my slumber. Now, you shall bear witness to the horrors I have endured." One by one, the members of the group found themselves caught in a trance, their eyes held captive by the spirit's gaze. They were powerless to look away as Bloody Mary weaved her tale, her voice a haunting lament that seeped into their very souls. She recounted a tragic history, her voice dripping with anguish. Her innocence had been torn away, replaced by a never-ending cycle of suffering and despair. The room quivered with each word, as if it absorbed the pain of her tale, amplifying it into a symphony of terror. As the crescendo of her story reached its peak, the room convulsed with an unearthly force. The walls trembled, cracks spider webbing across their surface. The group screamed in terror, their pleas lost in the cacophony of chaos. And then, as suddenly as she had appeared, Bloody Mary vanished, leaving only darkness in her wake. The shaken group stumbled out into the night, their minds forever scarred by the encounter with Bloody Mary. Their dreams became plagued by twisted visions, their waking hours tainted by the specter's lingering presence. The legend of Bloody Mary became a cautionary tale, whispered in hushed tones, a warning to those who dared to awaken the slumbering spirits of the past. And so, the haunted room remained, its mirror a silent sentinel, forever tarnished by the malevolent spirit that had been summoned. The townsfolk avoided it, fearing the consequences of awakening the darkness within. The house became a relic of terror, a testament to the power of forbidden curiosity, reminding all who passed by that some doors were better left unopened.
I hope you enjoy the content I upload. If you like what I'm doing, why not think about clicking on the subscribe button to keep up to date on my uploads. Thank you all for the great support.
The small town of Kilwood, nestled deep within the heart of Maine, was known for its tranquil streets and close-knit community. But even in the most idyllic of places, shadows lurk beneath the surface, waiting to shatter the peace. In a cozy house at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac, a babysitter named Sarah eagerly awaited her evening assignment. The Thompsons, a well-respected family in the neighborhood, had entrusted their precious children to her care for the night. Sarah had been babysitting for years and had earned a reputation as a responsible and reliable caregiver. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that stretched across the streets of Killwood, Sarah prepared for her night of watching over the Thompson children. The house was filled with a sense of warmth and familiarity, but a slight unease lingered in the back of her mind. Mrs. Thompson, a kind and gentle woman, provided Sarah with a detailed list of instructions and contact numbers, emphasizing the importance of keeping the children safe. Her parting words echoed in Sarah's mind as she bid farewell to the Thompson parents, who were looking forward to a much-needed evening out. Left alone in the dimly lit house, Sarah took a deep breath, attempting to quell the growing sense of unease. She reassured herself that it was just another night of babysitting, nothing more. The evening started innocently enough. Sarah engaged the children in games, reading stories, and even shared a few laughs. However, as the night wore on, strange occurrences began to unfold. A creaking sound echoed through the house, like footsteps on the stairs. Sarah's heart skipped a beat as she strained to listen, her senses heightened. She brushed it off as the house settling, trying to silence the nagging doubts that crept into her mind. But the unease continued to grow. Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her, lurking in the shadows just out of sight. Every creak of the floorboards sent shivers down her spine, and the once cozy house now seemed oppressive. Sarah decided to call the Thompsons to ease her mounting anxiety. She picked up the phone and dialed their number, but all she heard was a series of static-filled clicks. Panic gripped her as she realized the line was dead. The sound of footsteps grew louder, each footfall echoing through the house. Sarah's instincts screamed at her to protect the children, to keep them safe from whatever malevolent force lurked within the shadows. She hurriedly led the children upstairs to their bedrooms, assuring them that everything would be okay. With each step, the sense of impending danger grew stronger, the weight of a presence in the house becoming palpable. As Sarah tucked the children into bed, the sound of a door creaking open downstairs froze her in her tracks. The realization struck her like a bolt of lightning. The door to the basement was ajar. Fear gripped her heart as she descended the stairs, her footsteps cautious, her breath caught in her throat. The basement was engulfed in darkness, broken only by the faint glow of a single, flickering light bulb. With trepidation, Sarah approached the basement door. As she reached out to push it open, a chill ran down her spine, the hairs on the back of her neck standing on end. She couldn't ignore the feeling that someone or something was waiting for her in the depths below. Summoning every ounce of courage, she took a deep breath and descended into the abyss. The basement was a labyrinth of shadows, a place where nightmares were born. The flickering light bulb cast eerie shapes on the damp walls, creating a dance of uncertainty. With each step, Sarah's pulse quickened. She could hear her own heartbeat echoing in her ears, matching the rhythm of her mounting terror. The smell of damp earth mingled with a metallic tinge, filling the air with an unsettling blend of decay and fear. Suddenly, a voice whispered from the darkness, chilling Sarah to the bone. "I've been waiting for you, Sarah," it hissed, dripping with malice and veiled threats. Her heart pounding, Sarah turned toward the voice, her eyes widening in horror. In the corner of the room, a figure stood, cloaked in darkness. The man's eyes gleamed with a sinister light, his presence exuding malevolence. "Who are you?" Sarah managed to stammer, her voice trembling. A wicked smile twisted the man's face as he took a step closer. "I'm the man upstairs, Sarah," he hissed, the words dripping with sadistic pleasure. "The one you should have been afraid of all along." The realization hit her like a tidal wave. The urban legend had come to life, the very legend she had heard whispered in hushed tones by the town's inhabitants. The babysitter and the man upstairs, a tale that had haunted the town of Killwood for years. Sarah's fight-or-flight response kicked in. Adrenaline surged through her veins as she turned to flee, her footsteps echoing through the basement. But the man was fast, his hand catching hold of her arm, the grip vice-like. She struggled against his grasp, her mind racing for a way to escape. As if sensing her desperation, the children appeared at the top of the stairs, their faces etched with fear. With a burst of newfound strength, Sarah fought back. She kicked and clawed, breaking free from his grip. She grabbed the children's hands, their collective will to survive propelling them toward the basement stairs. They ascended with urgency, their footsteps thundering through the house. The man pursued them relentlessly, his laughter echoing through the halls, taunting them, promising unspeakable horrors. Just as they reached the front door, the Thompsons returned home, their laughter fading as they took in the scene before them. Sarah, breathless and disheveled, recounted the events that had unfolded in their absence. The father, his face filled with grim determination, called the police while the mother comforted the traumatized children. Within minutes, the house was filled with flashing lights and the sound of sirens, the town's residents drawn to the commotion. As the authorities descended upon the house, they searched every inch, but the man upstairs had vanished without a trace. The legend had taken form, leaving behind a trail of terror and shattered innocence. In the aftermath, the town of Killwood changed. The doors remained locked, the windows shut tight against the encroaching darkness. The story of the babysitter and the man upstairs became a cautionary tale, a chilling reminder that sometimes the greatest horrors are the ones that dwell closest to home. And in the hearts of the town's residents, a lingering fear remained, a reminder that the shadows of Killwood held secrets best left undisturbed. The night was thick with an eerie stillness as a lone traveler named Thomas drove along a desolate stretch of road in the heartland of America. The surrounding darkness seemed to press against the windows of his car, suffocating the feeble beams of his headlights. As he rounded a bend, his attention was drawn to a pair of figures standing by the side of the road. Two children, seemingly no older than 10, emerged from the inky shadows. Their appearance sent a shiver down Thomas's spine. Their eyes, black as the abyss itself, seemed to absorb the feeble light, casting an unnatural void upon their faces. Their skin was deathly pale, contrasting sharply with their unkempt hair, which hung lank and lifeless around their gaunt features. Curiosity and concern mingled within Thomas, battling against his instinct to flee. But something about the children, something otherworldly, compelled him to stop. Rolling down his window, he called out to them, his voice betraying the unease that had settled deep within his core. "Are you lost? Do you need help?" The children's eyes fixed upon him, devoid of any warmth or emotion. In a voice that seemed to emanate from the depths of the void, they spoke in unison, their words a haunting melody, "Please, we need to get home. Can we come with you?" Fear clawed at Thomas's insides, but an inexplicable force held him captive. With a trembling hand, he unlocked the car doors, allowing the children to climb in. The moment they settled into the back seat, a coldness enveloped the vehicle, chilling him to the bone. As they traveled along the desolate road, Thomas stole glances at the rearview mirror, his heart pounding in his chest. The children's eyes remained fixed upon him, their hollow gaze never wavering. "Where are your parents?" Thomas finally mustered the courage to ask, his voice quivering with trepidation. The children's mouths curled into a chilling smile, devoid of joy or innocence. "We don't have parents," they replied in unison, their voices tinged with a sinister edge. Unease swirled within Thomas, but he pushed it aside, determined to see the children to safety. They directed him to a secluded house nestled deep within the woods, its windows cracked and boarded up. Shadows danced upon its decaying facade, whispering secrets only the darkness could hear. The moment the car came to a stop, the children turned to Thomas, their eyes boring into his soul. "We can't go in by ourselves," they intoned, their voices laced with a desperate urgency. Reluctantly, Thomas stepped out of the car, his footsteps heavy with foreboding. As he approached the decaying house, the sense of unease intensified, his instincts screaming at him to flee. With each creaking step, he entered a realm untouched by the light of day. The air grew heavy with the stench of decay, suffocating his senses. The house seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, its very walls whispering secrets of unspeakable horror. In the heart of the decrepit abode, a room awaited, its door ajar. Thomas entered cautiously, the shadows engulfing him like a shroud. His heart thundered in his chest as he beheld a sight that shattered his fragile grip on reality. The room was filled with mirrors, their surfaces reflecting twisted visions of darkness and despair. In their depths, the souls of lost children flickered, trapped in an eternal torment. The black-eyed children stepped forward, their eyes ablaze with a sinister light. "We needed you to bring us here," they whispered, their voices echoing through the chamber. "To release us from our eternal suffering." Thomas recoiled, his mind consumed by a maelstrom of terror. He tried to flee, but an invisible force held him captive, his body frozen in fear. The mirrors shattered one by one, unleashing a cacophony of shattered glass and anguished wails. As the fragments of the mirrors settled, a portal to the netherworld revealed itself. The black-eyed children stepped forward, their twisted forms contorted with a hunger for release. They lunged at Thomas, their hands clawing at his flesh, their grip like ice against his skin. Pain seared through his body as he was dragged into the abyss, his cries swallowed by the darkness. The house, once a beacon of evil, collapsed upon itself, erasing any trace of the horrors that had unfolded within its walls. In the annals of urban legends, the tale of the black-eyed children persisted, a chilling reminder that some encounters were never meant to be. The shadows of that desolate road whispered their secrets to passers-by, a warning etched upon their souls. Beware the children with eyes as dark as night, for they yearn to drag you into the abyss from which they were born.